All right, we're back at you, coming live. Jared Nuzzy podcast. Oh, thank y'all for joining us. People are gonna be filing in and out.
We will post the show on YouTube.
We'll post it on YouTube, everything like that. Appreciate all the love and support as always, guys. If you haven't yet, if you're watching now, it means you have. Go to Jared Nuzzy podcast on Facebook. Check us out. Click the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Jared Nuzzy podcast, and then we're at Jared Nuzzy on Twitter as well.
Thanks again for all the views. All the shows on YouTube have now gotten over 100 views.
Yeah,
the Facebook views obviously have always been in the hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
And got some exciting news to
talk
about today.
We talked about the helmet giveaway a little bit. We sent a little message out, and these aren't the helmets that we're giving away.
No,
but these are exactly kind of what you're gonna expect. So we went to last week telling you about we've got a helmet on the way. It's gonna be totally free. We're gonna give it away the day of the draft.
It is a big time player.
Yeah, it's a big time current player right now. Thursday, April 25th is the date of the show at Outback Steakhouse. So that morning we want to give away that helmet. So we talked about how you could get there and how you can be a part of it. You go to the our page. You have to like it first, be part of the page, liking it, and then you go from there. You share our page or share our post, whichever. As long as you're sharing the page out, you're entered into the giveaway.
Yep.
We're gonna start that probably 2 weeks before the show happens. We'll start doing that and get the names. We're gonna put you all on a list, and we're gonna go to the randomizer, and then whoever we'll see how many times we have to click it. Whoever's at the top of the list is gonna win the free helmet. And it's signed. I can tell you it's signed by the guy. It's got a picture of him signing it. And it's got the COA, the JSA sticker on the back. So it's completely legit.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to give it away. Now, probably about a month ago, I got it thanks to Richie Parker, a guy that's I love and hate at the same time for this current addiction that I have. If you're somebody that loves sports and loves sports memorabilia, actually this Jerry Rice helmet right here, signed by Jerry Rice. I won on a page called Electric City Breakers. So shout out to Ricky and Glenn. You guys liked the page recently. We really appreciate the love and support from you guys. I just want to give you guys a shout out. If you're anything like me and love sports memorabilia and want to get cheap sports memorabilia and be able to win it and completely legit stuff, definitely check out their page. If you want an invite, let me know. I'll be broadcasting their page, and we'll be continuing to give them shout outs.
Some great prices too.
Amazing
these
prices.
helmets cost what, $30-$35 at the
Just to
store.
get. Yeah, if you want to, like this chrome helmet right here, okay, $39.99 just for the helmet, okay? But to get it signed, I mean, I won an auction on this one on eBay, but this one I won for a lousy $12, guys. I was able to win it. If you want to know more about them and what they do, it's amazing. It's an amazing concept.
They got a great variety of guys.
Absolutely.
Too. We were talking about which player we want to do for the giveaway. I mean, there was a nice list that we had to choose from.
I mean,
everything from former, current, college, pro. I mean, really.
Every
really
sport too: basketball, football,
Yeah.
baseball, hockey. I mean, they got everything. So, and they do nightly giveaways and stuff like that, and drawings. So, Ricky, what's up, buddy? Matthew, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. So, we're definitely excited for that, guys, and we'll be talking to you more about that as the days go on, as the weeks go on here, and as we get closer to the draft, which is gearing up pretty close. And we know
draft buzz.
We got the draft buzz is in full effect. All the pro days are pretty much done. The combine's done. It's now basically what teams want to do, and they know what they're looking at, and they know what they're getting. At least they think they do. So it's going to be fun, man. The draft's gearing up. Before we get to that, a little trade happened yesterday, last night. And it was the Chicago Bears trading Jordan Howard to the Eagles, and the Eagles get their starting running back that they've needed.
Mm-hmm.
They lost Jay Ajayi last year, kind of towards the end of the year, but I mean they got him for pennies.
6th round pick
in 2020.
That might be a 5th rounder.
Could be a 5th.
Best. I mean, you get a guy who rushed for 1,300 yards his rookie year, 1,100 his second year. Last year, still got close to 1,000 yards, even though he kind of split some carries and maybe didn't quite fit in
the system or
scheme. But a really good young running back, can catch the football a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 3,000 rushing yards in his first 3 years in the NFL. To get a quality running back like that for a 6th round pick.
I mean, It's a hell of a deal for the Eagles,
and
man.
it was one of those compensatory picks that, they didn't trade their compensatory picks, but they were able to make this move because they got some.
Because they got some, yeah. So it's technically they weren't really losing anything in a sense. I mean,
Yep.
and you got to think maybe the Bears are just that he's in a contract year coming up, so maybe they don't want to pay him. And they love Tariq Cohen there, and he's going to get more and more touches. You would think they got to have some kind of secondary back for him though, because he's definitely not a every down back, and
they'll probably go in the
so
draft, but
might draft somebody.
a steal for the Eagles, and also too Isaiah Crowell looks like he's going to the Raiders.
Yeah, another running back.
A solid little pickup. You know, he's maybe not a number one guy, but a real solid number.
Nice change
two.
of pace guy, if anything, for the Raiders, and that'll help them in their running game. And then another deal, not to jump the gun, but Robert Quinn from the Dolphins.
You know, that was
heading to the Cowboys. Matthew, thank you. I just saw that.
That's
thank you,
a
bud.
very solid move for Dallas. You get a proven pass rusher like Robert Quinn, get you about 7, 8, 10 sacks a year, and basically they get they're not gonna have to pay much.
No,
I think they traded a fifth.
It's a fifth. I think it's something that could become higher if you pay. You know, like all these trades, there's a bunch of stipulations.
But you know, with Randy Gregory in trouble again, you get Robert Quinn in the fold. You get a really nice complementary pass rusher.
Put him outside of DeMarcus Lawrence.
DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, really nice pickup and a nice fit there, and very solid move. Not going to have to pay him much. You have to give up a lot for him, and you get a proven pass rusher. And he's only 28 years old too, so he's still got plenty left in the gas
absolutely.
tank. When you look at all these pass rushers we're getting in free agency, so to get Robert Quinn for $2 million and a 5th or 6th round pick, great move by the Dallas
they reworked
Cowboys.
his contract.
I'll tell you, they made 2 really solid moves in the last weekend. Randall Cobb, 1 year, $5 million deal. And now you get Quinn on the cheap. So really 2 solid moves for the Cowboys, not giving up much, and get 2 veteran guys.
And you look at the NFC East, the Cowboys and the Eagles kind of counteracting each other with these deals. It's kind of a toss up still for that NFC East, who's gonna be the one to win it, and it's gonna be, you'd like to think it'd be between those 2 teams. You know, the Giants are rebuilding, the Redskins lost Alex Smith. They're not really sure what they're doing at quarterback. I mean, they did get Case Keenum, so I mean you gotta look and see the Cowboys and the Eagles. They're counteracting each other with these trades, and they're definitely making things work. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do in the draft. The Eagles obviously have a first round pick. The Cowboys do not.
Right.
So, but they did get their all pro wide receiver from Amari Cooper for it. So, going to the draft, I know we had our mock drafts out there, and every day we can change these mocks. I mean, it's just you hear things and you see teams all of a sudden like this guy, all of a sudden they didn't like this guy. Now they're all it's
but
very
now
hard.
Things are going to start to kind of shake up with all the pro days taking place, free agency basically.
Yes.
Pretty much done. So I think things are kind of going to stay pretty much consistent.
Right.
And I did tweak my mock a little bit this morning. I changed about 4 picks, one of them being the Patriot pick.
Towards the end of the draft.
But we can
kind of go one by one here. I mean, we're not going to go too in depth on every pick. We're going to have one more mock draft to end all mock drafts before the actual draft that shows, all right, this is it. Oh, and speaking of the draft, I forgot to mention, we're going to do the top 15. It may change the top 20 the more I've been thinking about it because of tiebreakers and because I'm anticipating us having a lot of people being in this.
Right.
We don't want to have 7, 8, 9 people tying. So we're probably going to move it to the top 20. So 1 through 20, you're going to give us your 1 through 20 draft. No matter the team, no matter what happens in trades.
The player.
So just the player. So if the Jets make a trade to go back and they end up taking Montez Sweat at 8, but you've got Montez Sweat at 8, that's a right answer. So we're going to be doing that, and that one's going to be for the $50 Outback gift card.
Add to the draft show at Outback.
Yes.
Again, you can sign up on our Facebook page if you plan on joining us. Trying to get a count for food and stuff. So. And we've already gotten a lot of response for it, and we're going to have a couple people on the show.
Looks like some special guests, coming at you for sure.
And,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good
So if
time.
you can't make it to Outback, which we understand, please join us on Facebook Live. The more, we already have questions put aside already from people that want us to ask on that day. Anytime you guys have a question on any of these live shows, we really, really encourage you to ask us, no matter how crazy you think it is, because we're here for you guys, you're here for us, and we're having a great time doing it, so we want to just continue to be interactive and more questions the better, and more stuff we can talk about. And being a slow time in sports, man, we're still coming up. Well, you guys are in it just like us, and
we want to make it a very interactive draft day show.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we'll go as long as we can. I mean, if we
real quick, we want to give a shout out to. We talked about we're going to do the live show today. We had someone already saying they've been counting down the minutes.
Yeah. So my buddy Alex Miller hits me up today and around 10 o'clock and says, "Hey, can you guys hurry up and go live so I can get this?" He's been up for 17 hours. And Alex Miller is a proud member of our military, so we really appreciate everything you do and all the sacrifices you make. And we really appreciate it. And it's nice to know that you're waiting on us, man, to go live. So that's pretty cool. And so we appreciate that, and we definitely appreciate you, man, all the sacrifices you've had to make for you and your family. So thank you, Alex, for that, and we appreciate the kind words this morning. And
all the messages and kind comments we've gotten, and Sam reached out to us. Thank you for the positive feedback. Dan Cook, just a lot of people. Larry, thank you. Just great feedback from people.
Gained like 15 or 20 new people this week, so which is always great, man. We
CJ's very active on
yes.
On
oh gosh, yeah.
board.
CJ, everybody, man.
That.
So like we said, the draft day show is going to be awesome. We're really looking forward to that, and then hopefully that we can do more stuff like that and going to different places and changing the venues up. We got other stuff in the mix going on. You're going to be seeing some changes, and we're gonna make this thing right, man. We're gonna make it big for you guys. So going back to what we talked about with the draft, I know we talked about the first draft. Yeah, so the first pick, where everybody looks like we're going Kyler Murray at quarterback. I think we're in consensus of that. I mean, this isn't a guy that would be picked first. I don't think he would be picked first if the Cardinals weren't at the number one spot. This is just my opinion.
No.
The love affair with Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, and if you say this, if we were drafting last year and Kyler Murray was coming out, there's no way he's the first pick. He's not that he's a first pick overall talent. It's just the love affair. I think
and too with Baker Mayfield, I think helping too, being
Absolutely.
on the shorter side, same school, same scheme, so that helped him too. So any other draft, he's probably he's maybe a late first round pick.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think any other draft.
And then you look at the Niners. We've gone flip flop with that with Nick Bosa. We both had Bosa up there for a while, but I think
I'm going to go back to Bosa. I had Quentin Williams for a little bit, but I'm going to go back to Bosa just because I really think he could play either end spot for him. He could play the Leo. He could play the big end. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Justin Smith. So I think they're going to draft Bosa, pair him up with D4, and then you got Buckner and Eric Armstead and Solomon Thomas inside. But yeah, I'm back on the Bosa tonight.
So you're back on the Bosa train, and you're a Niner fan, and you know more about the Niners than me. So with that being said, I think they take Quentin Williams. I think Quentin Williams is the best player in this draft. We both agree on that, I think, to an extent. Nick Bosa is a close second, probably, in your mind. Mm-hmm. And then so Quentin Williams, I mean, if they got D Ford, they got they can anchor that middle with Quentin Williams, and that'll be a scary D-line, so that's where I think they're going. So we talked about Bosa. I think that's where he ends up in New York with the Jets. Just kind of falls into their lap.
So we just flip-flop.
So we flip-flop because I think you have Quentin Williams at 3, you said.
Yep, I'll have Quentin Williams going to the Jets at number 3, and that would be a heck of a pickup for them. Because I do agree with you. I do think he is the best player in the draft.
Excellent. So, so we got we flip-flop there. We go to the Raiders. This is a pick that's kind of changed now a lot. I still have Josh Allen there till further notice. The edge rusher from Kentucky, I still think he's one of the top 5 players in this draft. So I think that the Raiders take Josh Allen.
I have him taking Ed Oliver. I remember I had him taking Ed Oliver in our first draft show that we did. He had a heck of a workout yesterday.
Yes,
ran a faster 40 time than Saquon Barkley. We were talking about that. His 20-yard dash time was insane. Athletic DT, 281 pounds, moves basically like an outside linebacker. I think the Raiders get their DT here, and then they can maybe get an edge guy later in the draft with the draft being so deep.
Can definitely see the Raiders trading that pick, too.
I could see them or trading up. I do hear they love Nick Bosa. I've heard rumblings maybe swapping with the Niners.
Gosh.
Them moving up for Bosa. Niners going down to 4 and recouping a second-round pick that they traded for D4 next year's draft in the second round or this year. So... But as of now, I'm going to have him taking Ed Oliver at number 4.
Interesting. So the Raiders, like we said, they're not any... What's up, Felipe? How you doing, pal? Devin, thank you for the kind words, man. Welcome to the show. So we talked about the Raiders. They're not shy to make moves, obviously. No. John Gruden's not afraid to trade his best players away, as we should say. We've said this 3 or 4 times
John
before.
Gruden, Mike Mayock. I feel like every time I turn on NFL Network, they have a Raiders press conference.
Oh, yeah.
Mayock and Gruden making
About
some
their
kind
latest
of trade
deal.
or move or
Exactly. Definitely taking.
So we'll move to Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. I have. This is a guy that's dropped on money, and I'm keeping it the same just for the sake of argument here. I have Greedy Williams at 5 because the Bucks from day one have said they want to go corner. That's their special need they make. But as we know, love affairs happen during combines, during pro days, and they've talked about going a different direction. I still have Greedy Williams. On my final mock draft, I can promise you that he probably won't be there unless something's. I'm just sticking with it.
Yeah.
Greedy Williams is he's the best corner in this draft. I don't care what anyone says. I think he's the best corner in this draft, most talented guy. So I have him going 5 to the Bucks. I can see him going down to maybe towards the bottom of the top 10, or even out of the top 10, out of the top 15. It's pretty crazy. Just depends on needs and what happens, and always trades and everything. So I don't know who you have at 5 there.
I have, I know the guy that you really like, Devin White, linebacker from LSU. Stock is soaring. Tremendous athletic linebacker from LSU, 3-down guy. He will be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
He could even sneak in a little bit higher, but Devin White will be a top 5 pick.
And that's another reason why I have Greedy Williams still there. It's because I don't want to have to come to terms with the fact that the Broncos won't get Devin White because it looked like Devin White was going to be the pick, and now he's just soaring up.
Devin
so
White
I need my Broncos
be
to get it.
a top 5 pick.
You heard it there first, guys. All right, so Devin White at 5. Giants, I still have them taking Dwayne Haskins at number 6. That just makes way too much sense for me to change it right now. I know there's been rumblings of them trading out,
Unless they
waiting.
trade for Rosen.
Then it's possible they trade for Rosen. That's another thing we forgot to talk about with the top pick with the Cardinals. Just switch gears a little bit. Josh Rosen has been in the news. The Cardinals have said that 3 teams have offered them a second-round pick already for Josh Rosen. I know
Giants, Patriots, and Chargers.
Chargers we thought was kind of interesting because Phillip Rivers, yes, he is getting up there in age, but
you would think they maybe draft a kid who sits for 2-3 years.
Right.
Because you trade Rosen, you almost think Rosen's gonna
play right away.
Right away.
Excuse me. But then again, with New England, he's not playing right away either.
That tells me a lot too. I think they're really starting to think Tom Brady's basically.
This could be Brady's last year. I mean, I know we've said that for the last 5-6 years.
But I mean, if you look at New England with that kind of interest in Rosen, I think they're maybe thinking this might be the year. But
so I think we're consensus.
We
on
digress.
That.
But
right.
I have the Giants taking Haskins as well. I think it's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
So we have that at 7. Jacksonville, I've kind of. This pick has changed a lot for me as well, but I'm going to have him taking T.J. Hawkinson, the tight end from Iowa, who's really shooting
soaring,
up
man.
Draft boards. Talk about George Kittle coming out of the Iowa program a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. Hawkinson, I think, could be as good. He's definitely coming out with a higher buzz, but tremendous player, tremendous prospect. He will be a top 10 pick, no doubt. So I think Jacksonville, you want to get some weapons for Nick Foles. They have a good defense in place. They got Leonard Fournette running back, but don't have really much in the way of a receiving core. So give Nick Foles that security blanket. Give him that Zach Ertz.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that would be a solid pick.
And this is another pick that we could see. Like, you talk about Hawkinson being a top 5, or excuse me, a top 10 pick. Big Hawk being a top 10 pick. He's another one that's a trading candidate. Like, the Packers supposedly really love him. Like, and they're sitting at 13 or 12. They can go up and get him. I think if Jacksonville makes this pick, I think you got to protect Nick Foles. And he's your $100 million man or $88 million man. So I think it's Jawan Taylor, the offensive tackle out of Florida. Him and the other 3 tackles that might go are been kind of flip-flopping. So I like Jawan Taylor here as the pick for the Jags to protect Foles. And the Lions are at 8. This is another pick that's just been going crazy. I have them taking Montez Sweat, the edge rusher out of Mississippi State. I think he's a guy that you can look at like, here's a guy, I sound like Chris Collinsworth, sorry. Talk about Josh Allen, talk about Nick Bosa. You can sit down and really make the argument that he's the best pass rusher. You can make the arguments for all these guys. Like we said before, the draft is no shortage on edge rushers, and I like the Lions taking Montez Sweat.
I have him take another edge guy. I know a lot of people are probably going to think I'm a little crazy that I haven't fallen this far, but I got Josh Allen dropping to number 8. Be a great pick for the Lions. He could play Sam on first and second down. Could play edge rusher on third down. Definitely fits the scheme there. I just think Josh Allen. I think when you study more tape, he still has some work to do. He doesn't have the pass rush moves. If he doesn't beat a tackle with his speed, he kind of gets stuffed. So he needs to develop some pass rush moves. He struggles bending a little bit, getting underneath the tackles. So I think when you turn the tape on, I know he had the great senior year, but there's still some work to do. He needs to bulk up a little bit. So he could be a guy that fall. Now, he could still go as high as 4. I wouldn't be surprised, or even 3. But like I said, I have him going at 8. I don't think he would drop, further than this. He's definitely a top 10 pick. But as of now,
you never know.
I got him going number 8. It'd be a great pick for the Lions at number 8. And then the Bills at number 9. I think the offensive line is probably their biggest need. And the guy you had, Jawan Taylor, going to the Jaguars, I have the Bills taking him at 9.
Okay.
Getting that tackle to protect their young quarterback, Josh Allen.
Right. So you got Taylor going there, and that's the thing with Buffalo is the offensive line does make sense for Buffalo. And if for my short memory with prior drafts, that the Bills don't always make that actual move that makes sense. So I think that trend continues, and I think they go with the sexy pick and the guy that's built like a brick, what. And I think it's going to be DK Metcalf, the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. He's slipping on a lot of draft boards. He's slipping down. But when it comes down to it and you see the physical specimen freak that he is, if he can just get a little bit of work on his route running, which is huge for receivers, of course. But then again, first off, I'm not comparing him to Randy Moss. But Randy Moss couldn't run a route. I don't care what anybody says. But Randy Moss could fly. He could get up there. He's an athletic freak, and so is DK Metcalf. That's why I think the Bills go DK Metcalf. Now, moving on to number 10, to the Denver Broncos, the pick that you said he would go at 5. I'm going to hold out hope and still think he's there at 10. It's Devin White. The more and more it looks like it doesn't look like he's going to be there. TJ Hockenson was talked about for Denver. I said on the last show I wouldn't be surprised if they went best player available at 10, or maybe try to trade out of it because Devin White might be gone. There are a little linebackers who still available, hopefully at 10, which we'll get to in later picks. And so I think Devin White is the best linebacker, true linebacker at this in this draft, which means he probably will go before 10, but I'm holding out hope that he's still there at 10 for Denver. Vic Fangio needs that quarterback of the defense. Devin White could be it. What say you?
I got him taking a linebacker, and it's the second best linebacker in the draft, Devin Bush, who, if he was a couple inches taller, you'd be probably talking about him as a top 5 pick. You turn on the film, and that guy's a football player, man. He flies all over the field. He's got great instincts. He's a hit-run guy, another 3-down linebacker. Again, he's a tad over 5'10", so that's keeping him from being drafted higher. But here at number 10, I like it. Vic Fangio gets his kind of quarterback of the defense. Vic Fangio loves the middle linebackers in his scheme. San Francisco had Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis. Baltimore had Ray Lewis. Chicago, you got Roquan Smith last year. So I think the Broncos shore up that defense, replace Brandon Marshall with Devin Bush. I have 2 or 3 guys that are like my favorite players in the draft, and he's one of them.
Yeah. So you talk about Vic Fangio and loving linebackers. He actually took a linebacker from the Broncos a couple years ago, Danny Trevathan, after they won the Super Bowl. Danny Trevathan went to the Bears, and Danny Trevathan was that guy for a while for him until Roquan Smith came into the picture, and they wanted him to do more. But Danny Trevathan was a great linebacker for us, had huge success in helping us win that Super Bowl. Cincinnati is the next pick at 11, and that's where I have Devin Bush going. I'm in complete agreement with you. If Devin White's off the board, Devin Bush is probably the pick for the Broncos at that linebacker position. So Devin Bush, to me, at 11, the Bengals make sense. They need help. They just got rid of Vontaze Burfict. I know he was kind of slipping or whatever, but it's still a roster spot they need to fill. So what say you?
I have talk about Devin Bush is one of my favorite players in the draft. The other guy is Brian Burns, the edge rusher from Florida State. Love him.
We got a little side bet going on with Brian Burns, don't we, there, partner?
6'5", 235. He's actually already put on some weight, but tall, langy, explosive, tremendous pass rusher. Over 30 sacks, 3 years at Florida State. Kind of reminds me of Aldon Smith. Just an explosive guy. You turn on the tape, man, this guy can go. He flies off the football. Just a natural pass rusher. I think his upside is tremendous. He could end up being the best pass rusher from this draft. That's how much I like him. So I got him going 11 to Cincinnati.
Interesting. So, and I said I have Devin Bush. My wife's here. Hello, Vanessa. How you doing? She says that we need a backdrop. Speaking of the backdrop, that is in the works. That is one of the things that's in the works. With the logo in the work. We were going to keep it a secret, but what do you know? But logo next week, backdrop hopefully soon after that. So Hopefully that coming soon. So we're moving on to the Packers. You had Big Hawk going in the top 10. I still think Big Hawk goes to the Packers at 12. If not 12, they jump up into the top 10 and go get him. So T.J. Hawkinson, tight end out of Iowa, could be. The Packers need weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, they're letting everybody go. Devontae Adams is the only guy in the building that can catch a pass consistently. Randall Cobb's gone. Obviously, Jordy Nelson, they lost. He's retired. But, I mean, if you think Aquinius St. Brown and Marquez Valdez Scantlin, whatever the hell, is going to be what makes you guys go back to the Super Bowl in Green Bay, I think you're highly mistaken. I think you need somebody like Hawkinson, or they could go receiver. But what do you say at 12 for the Pack?
Devontae Adams, really good player.
He is good.
Wink, wink.
Solid.
You'll get that later on. But so I have Green Bay taking an edge guy, pass rusher, Montez Sweat. I know they did upgrade the pass rushers in free agency, but I think here at 12, too good to pass up. I don't think there's a receiver or tight end necessarily worth taking. They could look at DK Metcalf, but
he's probably going to be still there.
He's a little raw in the route running, and the Packers with their new coach LaFleur, it's a West Coast offense. You got to be able to run routes. So I don't know if he kind of fits that scheme. So Montez Sweat at 12, you get a proven kind of edge pass rusher. I think he's too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Then we shift gears. We go to Dolphins at 13.
Before we go to the Dolphins at 13, we got to talk about the Brian Burns issue here. We have you think that now on your mock draft, obviously it's a little different, and this might change, but you have a hunch that Brian Burns could shoot up and be drafted higher than Josh Allen.
I think he'd go as high as 4 to Oakland, and I did until the Ed Oliver work. I've kind of been going back and forth on them.
Right, but so as you all know, we had the Kyler Murray top 10, which looks like I'll be winning that, and we got a double or nothing on Brian Burns going ahead of Josh Allen. So we'll keep that going a little bit. Now that sports gambling is legal in most states, we'll keep an eye on that. So we go to the Dolphins now. The hometown Dolphins. We got a lot of Dolphin fans that watch us. A lot of Dolphin fans want to know. Mark Fiola in the house, senior. Mark Fiola senior in the house. Dylan. Here we go. So Felipe, you're ready? All right, here we go. So the Dolphins pick I have at 13 is Drew Lock, the quarterback out of Missouri. Now, there have been rumblings, and we saw a rumor that the Raiders are loving this guy. They love Drew Lock. Gruden was coaching him at the Senior Bowl. Loved him. Thought he was great. There's been rumblings that
Gruden loves everybody.
But Gruden, exactly my point. Gruden loves everybody. There's not
the quarterback camp too. He was gushing over everybody.
Even Ryan Tannehill, Dolphins fans. He thought he was going to be the next guy. So Danny Perez, another Dolphin fans. Wow, all the Dolphin fans are here right in time. So Drew Lock, I think, is the pick from Missouri. He's the guy, though, that we talked about the Raiders. His rumored that the Raiders love him so much that they're trying to trade up even further with their back half draft picks to go get him. Now, if Derek Carr is your future and this and that, you're not even talking about that. You're not even thinking of that. So if that's true, look out. Drew Lock could be that guy. I personally think that's hogwash and a smoke screen or whatever you want to call it, but I think Drew Lock is a dynamite pick for the Dolphins if they think that he's the next guy. They're obviously in a rebuilding year. They need a quarterback. They signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not the long-term answer, as every other team in the NFL I think knows. I think he's played for everybody. So Drew Lock, quarterback, Missouri Dolphins.
It might be the only pick that we might have the same, other than the Murray pick.
Haskins, yeah. The quarterbacks. We're kind of in the quarterbacks.
Yeah. I have the Dolphins taking Lock at 13 too. I think it just makes total sense. They might have to end up maybe moving up a couple spots together, but I do think the Dolphins and Drew Lock, that marriage makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Mark Fiola Sr. says that he's the next Marino. Well, for Dolphin fans, I hope he is. I hope you get your next Dan Marino. Let's hope he wins a championship, though. You know what I'm saying? So we talked about the Dolphins and Drew Lock. And 14, Atlanta Falcons. This is a guy you said that was going to jump up to 4. I have the Falcons taking Ed Oliver. Remind you, I didn't shake up my draft just yet. We've been looking at stuff and everything. And obviously Oliver's just creeping up draft lists. But I think if you're looking at teams staying put and trades not happening, I think that Ed Oliver goes to Atlanta, and that would be a huge pick for them. Then you got, like we said, you got Tack McKinley. They franchise Grady Jarrett. They've got Vic Beasley. Then you throw in Ed Oliver, and that D line is up. If Ed Oliver is as good as we anticipate him being, that's one of the best D lines in the league. So Ed Oliver, 14 to the Falcons.
I got the Falcons taking another guy who's just shooting up the draft boards, and that's Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle from Washington State. 6'4.5", 310 pounds. Extremely athletic, great knee bender.
Crossed him out.
Really came on this year, senior year. Mike Leach's offense, a lot of pass blocking, obviously, in that scheme. And he's a guy with tremendous potential, and he's really moving out. He can go as high as top 10. I wouldn't be surprised. And the Falcons certainly need protection. Their offensive line has really been shaky the last couple of years. So you need to protect Matt Ryan.
Yeah, a lot of injuries on the offense and defensive side of the ball. I think we're both in agreement that Atlanta, they stay healthy, it could be one of those teams, those comeback teams, so to speak, this year. With if they build through the draft, they have a good draft pick, top 15 pick, and then they get everybody coming back. Keanu Neal, Deion Jones, all those guys coming back on defense. So, and of course they got the free Julio Jones whenever they decide to throw it to him. So that'd be a good pick either way for the Falcons. And you look at 15 for the Redskins. Speaking of receivers, this guy's shooting up everybody's picks, everybody's draft boards. I think the Redskins go wide receiver. They have a lot more needs, but they do need a wideout. They need a quarterback, possibly offensive line. So I think Marquise Brown. The wide receiver out of Oklahoma is the pick here. Guy is probably the second best receiver in this draft, in my opinion, to DK Metcalf, only because of the upside. He's probably more skilled than DK Metcalf as far as route running, stuff like that goes. But as far as the physical nature, you got to give it to Metcalf. But Marquise Brown, the pick for me.
So I got him taking another wide receiver. I got the DK Metcalf. So on my board, he's the first wide receiver taken off the board at 15. We know the Redskins love those workout warriors, those freaks, if you will. So they get a big playmaker.
Yeah.
Speaking of Julio Jones, DK Metcalf has drawn some comparisons to Julio Jones. Definitely raw, but 6'3", 225. He's got the tremendous speed. And he'll come right in, make an impact, at least as a vertical down the threat guy. And then Carolina, who I think would love to draft DK Metcalf, picks at 16. I'm going to have them taking Ceylon Farrell, the DE from Clemson. Don't have to go far to make that pick. Panthers have lost a lot of guys on the D-line the last couple of years. You had Farrell, who's been a proven starter for Clemson national championship team. He's got solid size, 6'4.5", about 268, perfect D. They run a traditional 4-3 scheme in Carolina, so he fits that scheme.
First of the many Clemson D-linemen that are going to get taken.
You're going to start hearing a lot of Clemson guys.
For sure.
Yeah.
And this is another pick where actually that I did tweak and I flip-flopped with the Giants and Panthers. The Giants pick next. I do have them taking Farrell as well at 16.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty interesting. So you said it all. I mean, the guy, physical nature. I mean, from talent wise.
He's had some knee issues. So that's if you take away the medical issues, he's probably a top 10 pick. I mean, it's you turn on the film. He's a really good player, double-digit sack guy on a national championship team.
Right.
I just think there's some questions about the knees.
Mark Fiola Sr., thank you so much for the kind words, brother. Don't work too hard. Thanks for stopping in. So we talk about how I just flipped out the Giants gained this pick from the Odell Beckham trade from the Browns and have them taking Rashawn Gary, the edge rusher, D-lineman. I've been seeing he can be anything. He can play anywhere probably on the D-line from Michigan. The thing with him that's probably keeping him out of the top 10 is, yes, he's got the skills, he's got the production factor. He just wasn't there, like we said, for Michigan. So I think a lot of people have him. Some people have him going out of the first round, which I think is a little too crazy. But 17 Giants picking their second player in the first round. I think Rashawn Gary is a perfect fit.
We didn't do these mocks together, but I got Rashawn Gary going to Giants at 17 as well.
Interesting.
Definitely need a pass rusher. They need some D-line help. Rashawn Gary was the number one player coming out of New Jersey, high school football player, top recruit. He was a 5-star plus recruit. Went to Michigan, played as a true freshman, and really had a good true freshman year. But then from that point on, he kind of didn't live up to expectations. I believe he only had 1.5 sacks last year, but
he definitely hasn't led up
from the talent level. He's definitely got the talent, and he can play anywhere on the D line too. So his versatility is a plus. So yeah, we both have the Giants taking Rashawn Gary.
So Rashawn Gary, it's 17 to the Giants. We move to 18, the Vikings. I've had everybody from Ed Oliver over here. I've had some, everybody. I have some crosses out here, but we landed on, for me, the offensive tackle at Alabama, who's kind of slipped since our first mock.
Yep.
We had him in the top 10 as Jonah Williams. They need some help at the tackle position. They've got Kirk Cousins. They're paying heavy money for him. They got to protect him. So I think Jonah Williams he can play tackle. He said he would play guard if he had to. So that's one of those things. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife as far as on the offensive line. He can play anywhere. I think Jonah Williams is a pick for them at 18.
And here we go. We agree again.
Wow.
I got the Vikings taking Jonah Williams as
Interesting.
well. Really solid guy again. Yeah, when the first mocks came out, he was in the top 5. Kind of slid a little bit because people realize he's not quite the elite athlete, not the elite footwork you maybe look for in a tackle, but he's a great technician, very good natural knee bender. He's got the experience playing across the offensive line for Alabama, so very solid pick. The Vikings need tackle help. They've been looking for a left tackle since Matt Khalil was a bust. They tried the Riley Reif experiment. They definitely need some protection up front for Kirk Cousins. So I think this would be a really solid pick at 18, getting a battle-tested tackle who's proven in the SEC, week in, week out, that he is one of the best offensive linemen in the country, and come in and start day one, whether it be a guard or tackle. Eventually, he does slide the tackle, but he might initially be a guard.
And not to intervene here, but we can. It all depends on Jacksonville too. At 7, like they might be like, you know what? If they really want an offensive tackle, which I think that's the road they're going to go, they could go with Jonah Williams. They can go with Jawan Taylor or another guy that we're going to mention soon. Like it's just all about what teams prefer and who they like. Because these guys, from talent-wise, they're probably pretty even. There's not, and you don't know what kind of pro some people are going to be. So I mean, Jonah Williams, could go as high as 7. And we do think 18, though, we both are in consensus on that, which is pretty cool. Yeah. 3 straight picks were in consensus. Didn't do these together. So moving on to 19, the Titans. There's another team that could use some weapons. They had an injury last year with Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker's going to come back, but you don't know. He's getting up there in age. You don't know. Noah Fant, the tight end out of Iowa, is somebody that... with him and TJ Hockenson, it's crazy to see 2 tight ends on the same team going top 20 or even in the first round or drafted the first couple
2 years removed from having George Kittle come
out. Right, and tight end heaven in Iowa.
Tight end you. They've been an O-line you with Kirk Ferentz. Now coming tight end you.
So Noah Fant for me is the pick, and I think if by your reaction,
I have the same pick.
Crazy. So 16 through 19 we're in consensus, which is pretty crazy.
So you get that weapon for whether it be Tannehill or Mariota. Get that security blanket. Delaney Walker coming off serious injury. Fan might be a little bit more athletic than Hockenson. Mm-hmm. Really good route runner, good hands, about 6'4", 245, 4.6 speed. Good pick here.
Great minds think alike. What do you say?
If we get this next one, I know we won't have the same.
Maybe. Go for it.
Well, no, but I have Pittsburgh taken. This would be a steal for the Steelers here at number 20. I got them getting Greedy Williams at the corner from LSU. Be typical Steeler fashion. You get great value pick in round 1. I think Greedy Williams is a top 10 talent who's obviously fallen, but to get him at 20, great pick.
That would be unbelievable. I could see Denver taking him at 10 if he's still there. But we are as close as to say it's the same position. So I've got them taking a corner as well. Baker. I actually have them taking Byron Murphy out of Washington. He's another guy to me who's probably the second best corner in the draft. So what I did is I looked at needs for teams, and then I ranked them in my seeing what everybody looks at different mocks. Everybody looks at stuff to get and looks for insider information, what teams like, and I think Byron Murphy fits their style of play at corner. So we're in consensus of cornerbacks for the Steelers. We moved to 21 to the Seahawks, and this is one that I think we don't have the same on. Talk about edge guys. There's no shortage of them. The Seahawks could use another edge guy, and I think this Jalen Ferguson out of Louisiana Tech. Now, the Seahawks are known for making little weird splashes. Last year, they went with the running back, Rashad Penny, and everyone had him as the 5th, 6th, 7th. Sometimes some of them had him not even get drafted, which was weird, as their running back rank. Jalen Ferguson is probably towards the back end of the top 10 as far as edge guys in this draft. But he also is the FBS sack leader of all time. That's got to say something. I understand he's not playing against quality competition like in the SEC, like Josh Allen, or in the Big Ten like Nick Bosa. But Jalen Ferguson is a baller, and he can play. And the Seahawks, I see them taking him and making that little splash at 21 with Jalen Ferguson. Kind of make everybody kind of go, raise their eyebrow like they did with Rashad Penny. But Rashad Penny came on towards the end of last year and looked pretty good.
So I got the Seahawks. They lost Earl Thomas. They lost their ball hawking free safety, and they replaced him with Juan Thornhill, who's a playmaking safety out of Virginia. 6 interceptions this year.
I think that's another eyebrow-raising pick if you think about it.
This guy plays the ball extremely well. He's that center fielder in the middle of the secondary. So I don't know if you'll ever replace a guy like Earl Thomas, but you got to start
not.
trying to. And Juan Thornhill, as good as a safety in terms of playmaking in this draft. So I got them taking him at 21.
And as a Niner fan, you gotta like that every single person of that. What do you call it? What was
Legion of Doom?
Legion of Boom or whatever the bleep that destroyed my Broncos. They're all gone.
Yeah.
You've got one of them in San Francisco with Richard Sherman. So now Cam Chancellor's retired. Now Earl Thomas is gone. So it's a whole new era in Seattle.
But to their credit, they've really stayed competitive.
I don't think either of us and most people did not think they would be a playoff team last year.
I thought they were a 5 or 6 win team.
Bottom of the barrel in the NFC West is what we thought.
So you got to give credit to Pete Carroll,
absolutely.
John Schneider, the GM,
as much as we don't want to.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson and some weird rumors about Russell Wilson. Actually, you talk about that with the Giants, and I don't think that's anything. But that was kind of funny to read. So going to the Ravens at 22, another edge guy for me. They lost 8 starters. They lost, I think, 6 on the defensive side of the ball. And we talked about him. He's part of our bet. Brian Burns, the edge rusher at FSU. The Ravens would hit a splash here at 22 if they can get him.
Yeah, big time pick. They'd have another Terrell Suggs if that's the case.
Exactly. And then lost Terrell Suggs to the Cardinals. So Brian Burns, for me, fill in right away. He's a guy that can play right away. And he can make some quarterbacks miserable in that AFC North.
He's going a lot higher than that, but we digress. I have the Ravens getting some much-needed O-line help. Greg Little, a guy who's really moving up on the draft boards as well.
Huh?
6'6", 325, really long arms. Played in the SEC, really, is a little inconsistent, but at times he just shows could be a dominating player when he is getting knees bent and plays in his form. Really good prospect. Again, nasty in the run protection. Here at 22, typical Baltimore, solid value pick. Ozzie Newsome's done it for years there. So I have them taking Little, and then 23, the Texans. I'm going to keep the O-line theme. Another guy who's moving up, Cody Ford from Oklahoma.
Wow, interesting.
Who I've seen as high as 11 on some draft boards. I got he's protected Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. So Texans need O-line help like a lot of teams do. So I got him going. Was it 23 here?
Yeah, so you got him at 23 to the Texans, and I stay on that side of the ball with the offensive tackle. Another guy that you maybe forgot about or that maybe is slipping, but I've also seen him in the top 10 is Andre Dillard, the offensive tackle out of Washington State. This is a guy that could go possibly, in the top 10. And like I said, it's all about what teams prefer. So if like we saw the Jags, scheme fit, technique, everything. And all these guys to me are very close. Jawan Taylor to me is a little bit above everybody, which is why we have him. I have him going the highest. But Andre Dillard, Washington State can definitely give what the Texans need. They need protection, like we both think in that. So let's move on to another Raiders pick at 24. Now, like we said, this very well could be another team's pick because of the wheeling and dealing that they like to do. And I like them taking the running back out of Alabama here, Josh Jacobs. They could use some running back help. They did sign Isaiah Crowell, but they get a young back in there, Josh Jacobs from Alabama, and I think he could ends up being the every down back for them. Maybe not this year, but next year. But he's a good fit for them at 24, in my opinion.
Okay, I got them taking Dexter Lawrence, the big defensive tackle from Clemson, 6'3", 335.
Nice.
Came out as a junior, tremendous talent. Really could end up really going even in the top 15. But I think the Raiders get the big DT to two gap for whether they get Ed Oliver or an edge guy at 4. You kind of get a guy who can plug the middle and take on blockers.
Yeah, and I have them taking that kind of an edge guy at Josh Allen at 4. So we think that the Raiders, one way or another, are going to get that edge guy. And if you pair that pick with Ed Oliver, that's a hell of a first round for the Raiders. You mentioned DeAndre Baker to me. You thought that was the pick for the Steelers. I actually have him going 25 to the Eagles, the next pick. The Eagles they made that trade for Jordan Howard. Part of me thought maybe that would be the Josh Jacobs pick. Maybe they would go running back. A lot of people did have that. I don't think they do that now with the trade for Jordan Howard. So DeAndre Baker is the pick for me out of Georgia. This is arguably the best corner in the draft. A lot of people think he is. I think it's Greedy Williams still, but DeAndre Baker, physical guy, can play at corner.
Absolutely.
So I mean that's a big steal at 25 for the Eagles, since it's this guy that's been hyped up to maybe go top 10.
Sure. We'll stay in the SEC. The Eagles have had a lot of success with a Mississippi State DT by the name of Fletcher Cox, a guy who I really love coming out. He's been a tremendous player for them. I'm taking Jeffrey Simmons. Here's a guy who, if he didn't tear his ACL late in the year, probably be a top 10 pick, or definitely be a top 10 pick. He's a monster. 5 sacks as a junior from the interior DT position at about 6'4", 295. So, if you take away the ACL injury, he should be good to go for training camp. He'd be a top 10 pick, so I got the Eagles pairing another Mississippi State guy there in the middle.
I don't even have him on my first round. I can say that for sure. So that's you being the draft guru that you are, going a step above.
And two, I just real quick, the talent level from the Mississippi schools, Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Montez Sweat, Jeffrey Simmons, Abram, the safety, then Ole Miss, DK Metcalf, Little,
AJ Brown, we'll get to. Yeah.
There's about 6, 7, 8 guys from Mississippi schools that could be in the first round.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're definitely loaded with talent in Mississippi. So we talk about 26 with the Colts. We talked about how they were underwhelming in free agency. Thought they could maybe go after an Earl Thomas, get a veteran presence in the defensive backfield for them, or in the secondary. But I see them going the draft way of that and going with Jonathan Abram, the safety out of Mississippi State. I think that's the
really
pick for
good
them.
football player.
I mean, an unbelievable talent. So I think Abram is the guy for the Colts. The Colts re-signed. I'm sorry, his name escapes me. The cornerback, Demir, or whatever it is. Desir, yeah. So I had it right the first time. So you got him as a corner. You throw Jonathan Abram on the same side of the ball as him, or maybe opposite him. They could probably maybe get something going. And so that's where I have the Colts going at 26.
And we're going to go with the Clemson portion of the show. I have them taking the other DT from Clemson, Christian Wilkins, 6'3", 300 pounds, proven guy, ACC on that Clemson national championship defense. Yes. Colts need to get bigger, stronger, more athletic up front. So I got him going at 26. So a couple Clemson guys going off the board for me. 27.
Third Raider pick.
Go back to the Raiders. This guy is moving up on the draft boards as well. One thing, if you remember when John Gruden used to do the draft shows on ESPN and NFL Network, they had him on, on live on. He'd always raved in particular about offensive linemen. When teams took an offensive lineman, he just gushed and raved about offensive linemen. So I got to think with one of those 3 first-round picks, he's going to take an offensive lineman. I know they spent the big money on Trent Brown, but I just got to think with one of those 3 picks, they're going to fix that interior part of their offensive line. So I have them taking the best center in the draft, Garrett Bradbury, the center from NC State. Very athletic center. He's a 3-year starter, 6'2.5", 304 pounds. Just a solid, tangible, smart guy. John Gruden gets his center for the next 8 to 10 years in the middle of that Raiders offensive line.
That would be a big pick for them. They could use it. They need to protect, and I think that's where they go in the second round. It's not maybe Bradbury could be still there. Just somebody like I feel like offensive line is where they're going to go in the second round, maybe the third. But I have them helping out the corners spot here at 27. And this is a guy that we weren't very familiar with coming into our first mock draft and maybe breakdown. But he's a guy that's kind of been talked about more and more. And it's probably because of where he plays. Cornerback, his name is Rock Ya-Sin out of Temple. I remember we both about 2 months ago, maybe when it first started, looked and said, "Wait, there's a guy at Temple."
Who sounds like a Chinese appetizer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he kind of. It's like, wait a minute, hold on, and his name is Rock. So And I think that could be a guy it's a John Gruden type pick. You can just see him doing his little thing, his Chucky face going, rock your sin at a temple's a guy we definitely need.
Guy.
I mean, it's just not even just because of his name. From the talent-wise, watching,
Yeah,
saw some. I went on YouTube, looked at a little highlight tip. He's got some talent, obviously.
Corner.
And if he's going to be in the first round of the NFL draft, he's obviously multi-talented and can do that. So I think that's where the Raiders go. Staying in the AFC West at 28, we got the Chargers. And a guy you just mentioned a few picks ago, I have them taking the defensive tackle to Clemson, Dexter Lawrence. I think he's going to stay in the first round. He's going to be the guy you talked about him. I mean, a guy that could anchor the middle. Mm-hmm. He can get to the passer. He can stop the run. He can do everything. And the Chargers, in my opinion, get another steal in the first round like they did last year with Derwin James. Who's your favorite player?
Yeah.
One of your favorite players in the league outside of a Niner uniform.
Yeah, I love them coming out. I can't believe they got him. 16?
16. And the Chargers again do another one and get.
And I'll tell you what, at 28, I'm just looking at this pick and thinking, there's no way they're going to get this guy at 28. But he would be a steal here. DeAndre Baker, the corner from Georgia. You talk about he's, if not the best cornerback in the draft, he's probably the second best. So
definitely.
Just because teams don't necessarily, it's not really a cornerback heavy draft, but he's a very solid corner from the Georgia. Mm-hmm. Kirby Smart's had them in the national championship hunt the last couple of years, and he's been one of their top defensive guys. So if they get him at 28, that's a steal.
Yeah, absolute steal. For sure, and then I don't see him lasting that long. But another guy, we talk about steals that possibly could be a steal that was. Before the combine I had him at top 10, number 7. I had him going to the Jags, I think it was at the time, and he's a guy out of Florida that had a terrible combine. He got hurt, and many people think he's going out of the top.
We keep talking about guys who rise and this is a guy who's fell.
He can't fall any further. It seems. Ja'Kai Polite out of Florida. Now my theory here is you look at him. The production's there, the talent's there. Does he have the motor? Does he play hard every down? His conditioning
well,
right?
I think the size too.
And
he's
the size.
He's a 10 or 6'2", but you watch him on film, he sniffs out screens as well as anybody. He's a good knee bender, gets underneath good football.
I mean, being a Gator fan, like I've said before, when I'm a Broncos fan as well. When the Broncos are on defense, I'm watching Von Miller. When the Gators are on defense, I'm watching Ja'Kai Polite. And from what I've seen, and then obviously what other teams have seen, I think the Chiefs at 29 getting Ja'Kai Polite would be 1, my worst nightmare. 2, a huge steal again in the AFC West.
I agree.
So I think that you got the 27, 28, 29, all AFC West picks. So I'm going to be my stomach's going to be turning those entire picks. And I think that the Raiders, Chargers, and Chiefs are all going to get steals at those picks. So the Chiefs, Ja'Kai Polite for me.
I got them taking a guy that's already gone off your board, but it's a guy I really love. Jonathan Abram, safety, Mississippi State. This guy's a thumper. This guy's your traditional strong safety. This guy is a force in the run game. He is an absolute thumper. He is a hitter. He makes his presence known. 5'11", 205. He's built like a tank.
Ugh.
Only 2 interceptions in his career, so there's questions whether he plays the ball
Not exactly
real
a
well.
ball hawk.
Not a ball hawk, but boy, he lays the wood. And the Chiefs need a guy in the middle to kind of set the tone and more toughness. I know they got Tyrann Mathieu, but he's more kind of like a free safety. Or you can move Abram the free safety too. He runs like a deer. I think those two guys could be interchangeable. Mm-hmm. He can also play close to the line as an extra linebacker. Really good football player. Mississippi State was the leader of that defense. Great character. Solid football player. I like the pick here.
Excellent.
For Andy Reid and Spagnola's run the defense now.
Yeah, it looks like it. And they got a better defensive coordinator. JJ Bueno in the house. What's up, buddy?
JJ.
Welcome to the show, my dude. And we talk about that safety position, and we go to the Packers' first round pick that they might not have because they might do some trade ups. They got this from the Saints, and I like the safety position here for them. And another guy out of Delaware who's not really getting too much buzz is Nasir Adderley.
He's starting to.
Yeah, but he's starting to for sure. Another guy that can do everything that you need at the safety position. Come out, play the run, play the ball.
He plays the ball really.
And he's kind of the opposite.
He's a ball hawk. Yeah. He's a true center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
He really runs. He runs like a deer back there.
Yeah, and the Packers losing HaHa Clinton Dix for what seems like a bag of nickels to the Redskins, and then he goes and signs with the Bears for another bag of nickels, another cheap contract. This guy, Clinton Dix, is a great player. I'm very shocked that the market for him wasn't as much as it was. But so the Packers need that safety. They need a guy that can make plays for them on defense, and Nasir Adderley, to me, would be the slam dunk pick.
Yeah, I like that kid.
For sure.
So I got the Packers finally getting some weapons. We talked about Devontae Adams having no help. I got them taking, I know you have them taking, did you have them taking Metcalf?
I have the Packers taking T.J. Hawkinson.
Okay, but we talked about Metcalf,
but Metcalf possibly.
Packers. I got him taking the other Mississippi Ole Miss receiver, A.J. Brown. Guy who I really like. 6'1", 220, not elite 40 speed, but he ran about a 4.49. Production, I mean, you talk about much better production than DK Metcalf. I mean, he had 85 catches, 1,300 yards as a junior, 79 catches, 11 touchdowns as a sophomore. Really good route runner, good hands, just a really solid receiver. Not maybe a elite number one guy, but a heck of a number two. He'd be a perfect complement to Devontae Adams. Yeah, I think he'd be a good value pick
and
here.
I think he kind of what DK Metcalf lacks as far as a route runner and maybe like a student of the game, A.J. Brown has all of that.
160 catches, 17 touchdowns, 3 years in the SEC production.
But a lot of people think he's better. A lot of people think he's going to be a better
if you turn
NFL
on the
player.
film, he's a better receiver right now.
Yeah.
Metcalf's got all the athletic traits and the upsides out of this world, but in terms of being a football player, A.J. Brown's a better football player right now. Yeah. And he's a guy who can come right in and help your team. He could start day one as a number two receiver.
Now we move to the Rams, the NFC champions. Came up a bit short in the Super Bowl. You had him going a couple picks ago, rounding out the Clemson D-line for me. Excuse me, he's going to be Christian Wilkins, the D-lineman, another guy that's like Dexter Lawrence, can do everything. I mean, these guys, you can make a case that all three of them could be the better pro prospect and the higher pick. So you touched on Wilkins earlier about and the Rams. They re-signed Dexter Fowler. They're losing Ndamukong Suh, which it looks like. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. He's an absolute freak. But you throw Christian Wilkins in there, a young guy that can learn from Aaron Donald and try and be that other defensive tackle and hopefully take some pressure off of. With Aaron Donald going to face double teams for the rest of his life, so you got a guy like Christian Wilkins that can maybe get one-on-one blocking and get in there to the quarterback and stop the run. So that's where I have the Rams going.
And I had the Rams go on defense here for the longest time. I was thinking maybe having them take Blake Cashman. I also thought about them taking Adderley. But the more I thought about it, get another weapon for Jared Goff. When Cooper Kupp went down with a torn ACL, you really saw Goff's production go down. He lost that big receiver, the route runner. He lost that security blanket. They have Brandon Cooks, but he's more of a speed guy. So I'm going to have him take a guy by the name of N'Keal Harry. He's a big wide receiver out of Arizona State. He was a really high recruit. All the Pac-12 schools went after him. He ended up going to Arizona State, played as a true freshman, had over 50 catches, and I believe 7 touchdowns as a true freshman. Last year as a junior, 73 catches, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's 6'3.5", 216 pounds, so he's that big receiver.
Yeah.
The Rams need is going to help in the red zone and give Goff a big weapon. Great fit in McVay's scheme. And again, I just think they need another big receiver because you don't know how Cooper Kupp's going to come back from a torn ACL, especially it happened later in the year. So he might miss the early portion of the 2019 season. And so get more weapons for
absolutely.
Jared Goff.
I mean, you can never have too many weapons, especially in Sean McVay's offense.
Yeah.
I mean, and you make sense because you look at Brandon Cooks, you look at Robert Woods. I don't want to say they're the same player, but they're built on their speed. They're not big guys. They don't have the size. Brandon Cooks can fly past you. Robert Woods, great route runner, very quick inside in the slot. And if you get that big, tall, big physical specimen on the side.
Again, 6'3", 215 is that big physical wide receiver.
Definitely.
Good compliment for
absolutely,
Cooks.
Huge compliment. So that would be a big pick for the Rams. And rounding out the first round.
Your favorite team?
Yeah, all of our favorite team, the Super Bowl champs, 6-time champs, the Patriots. We just got done talking about how great A.J. Brown was, and I took a huge gulp hoping he's not there at 32, but that's where I'd see him going, rounding up the first round with A.J. Brown. And it would be a typical Patriots steal. We talked about maybe Polite being the steal for them, maybe, or something like that, but A.J. Brown, wide receiver out of Ole Miss, like we said, what DK Metcalf lacks in maybe a student of the game,
Route
running, is all of the intangibles AJ Brown has. He can go up and get the ball, just like Metcalf can. So he just doesn't have the raw speed and the raw look as DK Metcalf. But AJ Brown is probably going to be just as good a pro prospect, if not better.
Yeah.
So that would be a huge pick for the Patriots.
Yeah, and I think they could definitely go receiver here. I have them taking Irv Smith Jr., the tight end out of Alabama.
Another one I went back.
When you're getting old, when I can say I remember his dad playing.
Yeah.
I remember his dad was a highly ranked tight end coming out of Notre Dame. He was a first-round pick of the Saints.
Right.
But anyway, digress here. But very athletic tight end. Really didn't get the ball that much in Alabama's offense, being more of a run, first offense. But 6'3", 250, athletic, good 40 time, good hands. I think his best football is ahead of him. We know Bill Belichick loves Alabama guys. He's close friends with Nick Saban.
Yes.
Actually, they spend time with each other in the offseason. Taking a lot of Alabama guys just makes sense. Gronk retired. They need a tight end.
Especially with Gronk retiring now, they need that tight
Get
end.
a talented tight end out of Alabama to round out the first round.
No, that would be a great pick either way. If they go Brown, if they go Irv Smith, they're getting another weapon for Tom Brady, another weapon in that offense, another person that we can hate. So that's our first round. I know everyone was talking about what about the second round, what about the third? We want to save that maybe for the draft day show.
And we'll do our top 50, and then we'll break that down next week and kind of see where our list is. I know we differ on both and some other guys, so that'll be fun.
So we're going to do one last top 50 coming at you in a couple weeks before the draft, and of course the day of, the big draft day where we're doing we're going to be having you send in your top 20 picks. We're going to do 20, so it's set at 20. Top 20 picks, 1 through 20. You give us the player only. We don't need the team. We don't need the school. Whatever. Just give me the player name. Top 20. Give us the player name because we know trades are going to happen in the top 20. They always do. So wherever that player goes in that position, it'll be a right answer. Top 20. Winner gets a $50 gift card to Outback.
Yep.
So that's when we'll be talking about the second round and maybe the third round go a little more in depth.
Again, go on our page. Let us know if you're interested or going to come for the live show so we can kind of get a count for food. We're very excited about that. The signed helmet giveaway. We're really excited about that. Again, if you want to be entered to win, like the page, share the page. We'll automatically enter you in the drawing, and you get a signed helmet, mini helmet of a current player, a very good player. We talked about him on the show a couple times.
So these are the kind of stuff we're giving away. Not this pure. We got the signed Jerry Rice helmet. We got the signed Steve Atwater helmet. These are part of my collection. We talked about the Electric City Breakers page. If you want an invite to that page, let me know. I already talked to Ricky about it. Ricky Rinaldo runs a great thing. Him and Glenn run a great. It's an amazing concept. Something I wish I knew about. A while ago. Richie Parker invited me. Thank you so much. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna give away that helmet. And like Patrick said, really quick, I'm talking about what we're gonna do. We haven't done it yet. Please share the page anytime you want. But as far as being entered into the contest in about 2 weeks, 2 weeks out from the show, we'll announce it. We'll throw about the helmet, who it is. Are we doing who it is then, or we want to wait till the actual draft day to uncover it? Maybe we'll do it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Probably draft day. We'll uncover who the helmet is on the show, and then you'll know who Then and by then we'll have everybody entered in.
And then too, Alex is working on our logo as we speak. I'm thinking now because we're gonna have a couple rough drafts of it. Maybe we'll have our listeners vote on it. Maybe we'll give them 2 or 3 options. And we'll take a poll, and you guys can let us know what you think.
Which logo is the best? That would be a good idea.
Give a shout out to Alex. He's giving us a really nice package.
Thank you, buddy.
For the logo. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it. We're excited about that. And
the backdrop's in the works as well. We got to figure out how to get that and where we're going to put it, all that stuff. But
things are really moving forward. The YouTube views 100 plus on every show now. The Facebook, solid 400 to 600 views each show without any boosts.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate again the feedback. Again, when we get up this morning, we have messages and private Facebook messages. What time's the show today? Or
hurry up. Hurry up with it.
I'm basing my lunch break around today about you doing your show. I really appreciate the feedback and interest. It keeps us going, and we're putting some money behind it. We have some possible sponsors lined up too. So we're really
most importantly, man, it's a whole lot of fun.
We have fun.
We're having fun. We're talking to other guys about it. We're trying to get and we love the promotions with other guys. So we got some Ricky said he was going to talk about it on his show or his drawing coming up tonight, so that's great. But like we said, so you're going to have to share the page. We'll give you in-depth instructions. Some people go, well, how do I share it? Once that comes out and when we run the contest, and we want you to comment on that post your favorite team. So we want to get kind of an idea of how many fans of each team we have. So maybe we can base on other giveaways with what teams we do.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much as always. Like we said, make sure you're liking the page if you haven't. Like the YouTube page, Jairo Nuzzy Podcast for everything. And
yeah, thank you to everybody. Appreciate it. Love to shout out everybody, but there's so many people now.
Right.
But you know who you are. Thank you so
Right.
much. And
one thing, what was it? Always
ask on all prime.
peace out, y'all. Thank you so much.